Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. Just out driving for work again and was thinking about a podcast I actually did an interview on last night. Yesterday was kind of a crazy day. I ended up getting my name changed put through, so that's all over and done with. Was finalizing some stuff for my trip to Oklahoma coming up in a couple weeks. And then last night I was in a podcast on an interview with Danny DeHek from New Zealand, and we talked about a lot of stuff. He does a podcast called 12 Questions with Danny DeHek, and it's just 12 random questions out of about 100 that he has, so it's kind of an off the cuff in a lot of ways interview. But yeah, it went really well. But one thing we were talking about, I actually think it was after the podcast, so it won't be on the recording when it comes out, was he mentioned perspective. Because in one of the questions I talked about how my perspective had changed so much in the past couple years. And one of those things is he asked kind of where I feel at home or connected, and I've always felt that way in the woods, in the forest especially. Not even so much the mountains. I grew up around mountains, but it's more the actual forest, like the plants and everything there. And it's kind of funny because the way your perspective changes is based on what your experiences in life are, or what you are conditioned or trained. And I wasn't aware of that really. I guess if you go to psychology classes or study that stuff, you'd probably be more in tune with that. But I'm, just straight white male. That's one of my weak points, is being in touch with my feelings, I suppose, by default. But if I just go along, look at lessons in smaller parts of your life to apply to bigger parts. So, for like example, I hate mowing the lawn. I like being outdoors. I like plants. I like a nice lawn. I hate mowing the lawn. Why do I hate mowing the lawn? Because growing up, we had a huge lawn, and it was on a hill, and so you couldn't use a riding lawnmower. And I was a good-sized kid, and so we had so much lawn that almost every day after school, usually 3 days a week, I had to mow part of the lawn because we just had so much of it. My mom was quite good at getting things to grow, so everything grew good. There was just all kinds. So I was never big on mowing a lawn after that because I spent so much time as a kid having to mow the lawn. As I've gotten older, I realize I do like being connected to plants. So that perspective, though, is something that's very interesting because I've been looking into things and just researching different stuff. And I came across the subject of bonsai, which I had a couple bonsai trees when I was a teenager, and when I went out of town, they got overwatered, they died, and I never messed with them again. But in my mind, I always thought that bonsai was kind of mean, because you were intentionally stunting a plant. But that's a perspective on it, right? And I can't think of why I came up with that perspective. I kind of have a faint memory of my mom and I talking about that, but I'm not sure on that for sure. I just, for some reason, I have some type of memory there, but I'm really not 100% sure what it is. I keep looking down. You'll see why in a second. But I always just thought, you know, you stunt these little trees and yeah, they look cool, but so I started looking at some stuff, and there's a gentleman that did a bunch of videos. He's been doing bonsai for over 30 years from what I can tell just in the videos I've watched. And the care that he puts into them, and then the idea that he's got this farm or nursery where he has these trees that he's taken care of, and he's dealt with them every day for, you know, over 30 years. Yet that's not neglect. Like, that plant is different, has a different life than the one that's just put out in a field and let to grow to its own devices like nature put out. So it has a different life, but it's not necessarily bad. I mean, in a lot of ways, it gets pampered more than any other tree does. So that's a perspective thing. Can't talk to the plants, at least not yet. So I don't know whether the plants hate it or not, but they, you know, he has all these plants and they thrive. So then I got thinking, okay, what if, it was, again, small thing in life. I'd watch some bonsai videos, and then I'm in Utah, and we have a specific tree. I'll tell you what it is in a second, but this specific tree is a lot like a weed here. It just grows anywhere. And I was at a job the other day, and the lady I was working for was doing some weeding, and on the edge of her sidewalk there was one of these trees growing, and I said, you know, do you want this one here? Probably not. And she says, you know, no, I definitely don't want it there. And I said, all right, well, I'll pull it out real quick. So I pulled it out and tossed it in the gutter. You know, it's a plant that just a seed fell and it grew, and I threw it out and tossed it because it was in the way. And so in my mind, instantly, I thought, wait a minute, I need to look some stuff up. So this tree that's known as essentially a weed here where I'm at is the Chinese elm. And it just happens to be a very popular bonsai tree. I thought bonsai started in Japan, but it started in China and was perfected by Japan. But, or not perfected, but changed. I'm not an expert on this at all. So, but it was just that perspective. So I thought, you know what? I live in an apartment right now, and it would be kind of cool to have some bonsai plants, you know, bonsai trees. But at the same time, I was still like, yeah, but am I stunting a tree? And I don't have a bunch of extra money right now. So I got thinking about it, and I'm going to do an experiment. And we'll see how it goes. It may go nowhere. It may go somewhere. A lot of people refer to people's first bonsai as their sacrificial tree, just because there's a good chance you're going to kill it. But so if it happens, I guess. But what I decided to do was those to look for when I'm out working. Those trees like the one I saw at my client's, where it's grown in some weird crack in the sidewalk or some hole in the wall, and you know, it's going to get torn out and thrown away anyway, regardless. You know, once somebody notices it, it's going to get destroyed. So why not maybe turn it into something pleasing? You know, it was going to end up trash, so why not life as a bonsai? You never know what it's going to be. So with that being the case, there's the first one. This is not a Chinese elm. When I first saw it, I thought it was, but it is not. Has a little scar on it. I'll do a better video if it actually lives. But it was grown between two bricks, and so it actually has this really flat part of the trunk, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to see if I can leave that in place, but we'll see how it goes. And, you know, it acts like it could be somewhat flexible. It's definitely not going to bend into an S shape right away, but, you know, we'll see what happens. I may straight up kill it. I don't know. But regardless, I'm pretty sure I was kind of in a hurry, but I think I took a picture of where it was at. And it was just growing between two cinder blocks in front of a recycling bin. So it was definitely destined to be yanked out sooner rather than later. And so I'm going to give it a shot. We'll see what happens. But it's all a perspective. So I'm going to look for those trees in the future and see about what I can do. I'm just kind of playing with the branches now, just wasting airtime, but give them a chance at something different. You know, I was given a chance at something different, so we'll do the same for them. I'm not looking to buy any trees right now. I'm just looking to do it as, you know, somewhat of an experiment. So we'll see what happens. But it was a good project for me, and Danny made me think of our perspective on things. And if we just change that perspective, now instead of thinking, oh, it might be cool to have a bonsai, it's, oh, I could take that bonsai from, or that tree from where a place it would be destroyed and give it a chance to be something cool and actually, you know, possibly have a long life. So looking at your perspective and what made you have that perspective. If you look back at what made you have a specific perspective on something, that can help you to adjust if need be. So that's helpful as well. But just a quick thought again. Again, hope you're all doing well. I will keep you updated on the project as it goes, and we will go from there. So until next time, hope you all have a great one. Be blessed, and peace out.